Hey guys, thanks for swinging by. It's Retro Ruts. You know, if you like 80s and 90s stuff, you've come to the right place. This week we got some great stuff. We got some Spider-Man. We got some Turtles. We got some Ghostbusters and some Battle Beasts. So let's stop wasting time and jump right in and see what we got. First thing I picked up was another addition to my carded Spider-Man the Animated Series collection. So I was able to score a Nick Fury. Now this is an awesome pickup. The card's in pretty good shape. It's coming off, the blister's coming off a bit on the bottom, but I can't complain. Card's got a little bit of a curve, but I mean, you never see this guy carded. I mean, just the carded Spider-Man figures alone are getting really hard to find, so I was really stoked to pick this one up. I loved how a lot of the figures in this series came with different collector's pins. So this one has a shield one, and it's got like a rocket pack on it. Now this must have been probably the third or fourth wave. He was actually in the first season of the cartoon. He was in the first episode where they had the chameleon. And this was actually my first introduction to S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury, so this is really cool to see this. Obviously, nowadays with the MCU, anything kind of 2000 forward, we all kind of think of Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, but this is originally how he looked. And it's cool. If you read the back here, it even says, Colonel Nick Fury, Director of the Government Intelligence Agency S.H.I.E.L.D. And it says S.H.I.E.L.D. means the Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division. Where the difference in the MCU...
Oh, yeah. The guy from the...
Strategic Homeland Intervention
right,
Enforcement and Logistics Division.
God, you need a new name for that.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. You'll be hearing from us.
From the Strategic Homeland and
Just call us S.H.I.E.L.D.
So awesome pickup. We can obviously see how things have evolved over the last... Well, I mean, this is almost 30 years old, right? So awesome pickup. Glad to have him in the collection. Next, for my Turtles pickup, this was one figure I never really saw until last couple of years, and I really wanted to get it if I could get my hands on it for a good price. Now, as a lot of you know, I have a pretty big Turtles collection, and a big part of that is I got a little bit of a foot fetish. I love my foot soldiers. I think to count now, I'm at, I think about 14 complete foot soldiers, which I'm like running out of room to put them in my display, which I've been working on lately. But whenever I see a good deal on a foot soldier, I just got to pick it up. I got so many extra parts lying around to complete them. But this one is so cool that I was able to get. It was in one of the last lines, probably I think 97, 98. And they call it the robotic foot soldier. I mean, they were all robotic, but the difference is this one has more of a... it's different material, like a metallic material. It's not just like a glazing on it. It almost has a completely different material. And this one's in great shape. I don't believe there's any rubbing on them whatsoever. And it's a lot more solid of a material compared to the original foot soldiers. Like, even what I noticed right away is these shoulder pads on the original. Like, you could kind of spin them a bit. This one's being a little tough. But it was a little more bendable here. But these ones are... Like, those are rock hard. Those will not move. And even when you kind of tap him, like, he's solid. But such an awesome piece. I believe with his accessories, they're all the same, but I believe they're a darker black material. So maybe one day I'll be able to find them. I mean, getting him alone was pretty hard to do. He doesn't come around too often. So an awesome add to my foot soldier collection and my rare turtle figures. Next, a buddy of mine who I've been helping him try to liquidate a lot of his vintage 80s toys, 90s toys he had as a kid. And he had one lot of these figures, which I thought were awesome, so he let me keep a few of them. And he's got all three or four waves of them now, but they're the Battle Beast figures. So I don't know if a lot of you remember these guys, but they're these little animal figures. So this guy's a little rabbit. This guy is, I think, a ram. And these little weapons on them. They're tiny. I think they're 2 or 3 inch figures, and they had these little rubs on them very similar to the old Transformers, where you could see the Autobot or the Decepticon logo. And what a lot of people aren't aware of, especially people in North America like myself, was these are actually part of the original G1 Transformers line. The thing with it, though, is these characters came in I believe it's the 5th season of the Transformers cartoon, which was the Headmaster series. So these were different animals that lived on the planet Beast, I believe it was, and the Autobots and the Decepticons had different allies with the different factions. Now, we never saw that in North America, unfortunately. Obviously, the Japanese cartoon was a little bit different than the American one, which was based on the Hasbro toy line. But these ones were made by Takara, which also made a lot of the original Transformers, which is why they're actually considered part of the Transformers universe. And they did so well selling over there. Hasbro actually did license them, but when they brought them into North American markets, they were then known as the Battle Beasts. And there was different factions. I think there was like a fire, a wood, water. I think that was it. I think there was 3. I don't think there was no cartoon that I'm aware of that was tied to these. But I remember the commercials were pretty badass.
Battle beast wood! Fire! Fire burns wood! Battle beast fire! Water! Water puts out fire! Battle beast water! Wood! Wood beats water! Battle beast collect every one of these incredible creatures to battle for fun. Just activate their battle badges.
I got fire! I got water! Water beats fire!
Battle beast can grow into an army. Collect all 84. Battle beast.
And I think I had a few of these back in the days that maybe I picked up at garage sales and whatnot, but I don't remember these on the store shelves. But seeing this huge collection my buddy had was awesome, so I'm really glad to have these and to be able to put them on my my miscellaneous retro rut shelf. All right, next we're going into the world of Ghostbusters. A few months back, when the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie came out in the States at the AMC theaters, they had these special edition collectors Ghostbusters Afterlife Ecto 1 popcorn containers. So these were only available in the US. Luckily, I had a buddy that was able to score a couple of them and get them shipped up to Canada. So we just got them a couple weeks ago. Pretty cool. Sculpt on the Ecto 1. It was a little bit pricey, to be honest, but kind of a cool add-on for my Ghostbusters collection. Now the lights do turn on, which is really cool. And then you can pop this open here, and that's where you'd fill it up with popcorn. So it would hold a decent amount of popcorn in there. I'm not going to put any in there myself, obviously. So kind of cool. The only part I was a little bit disappointed on, a lot of people had the same issue, is the kind of the paint job on it to give it the rust look. Like you can tell they just kind of, quickly just dabbed it with a brush. But overall, I mean, it's a really nice sculpting of it. It is quite huge. I think it's comparable, maybe a little bit smaller than the Kenner Ecto 1. So a nice add to the collection. One thing that was cool is apparently Dan Aykroyd had signed a bunch of these randomly, and they were in the boxes, so you didn't know until you opened one up. So I think he signed, I want to say like 50 of them or so. So I remember seeing some people randomly opening them up on different Ghostbusters Facebook groups and that, and sharing that. So I was really kind of hoping in the couple we got, so we cracked them open. Unfortunately, none of them were signed, but that's okay. They're still pretty sweet. Now, staying with Ghostbusters, I was able to pick up a couple random items over the last month or so. One thing that was completely random and really crazy that I was able to pick this up in such good condition was a Ghostbusters 2 kind of a flip coloring book. There's jokes and riddles and puzzles. But I went inside this and, like, it has not been touched. Like, no lines, no coloring pages have been colored, nothing. And I remember having this as a kid. I think I had a bigger one too. But the weird thing is when you look at some of the pictures on here, I guess they didn't have the likeness to use the actual actors, like the Ghostbusters, so they look nothing like the characters in the movie. Like Stance, like Ray has a mustache on in that, and I think Egon almost looks like Peter in here. Like it's really, really, really odd. I'll throw some pictures up so you can see what I'm talking about. But a cool add to the collection. I got it for $5, which was just unheard of. I can't believe I've actually been able to find this. Like, this is from 1988, so it's 35 years old at this point, or almost 35 years old. So, awesome score. Glad to get that. Next was something really cool and super hard to find. Was the old ectoplasm. So this one had the slime back in the day. So you'd open it up and it held, I think it was about 5 ounces of slime. This one's obviously long since been gone. I do know someone that has one sealed still. She never opened it. It was hers as a kid. It's still in her collection, so that is really cool to see that. But each one of these containers came with a different little ghost inside. Now there was the containers. There was a purple, red, yellow, and blue, and each different color ectoplasm container had a different little ghost in it. So I actually found this little guy. Someone was selling it. I don't think they really knew what they had, or they didn't know what it was worth. I got it for $2. These guys go for probably $30 or so, $20, $30 if you can find them. So it would be nice to be able to find all of them, but I mean, I think there's got to be at least 12, if not more, different ones. So it's going to be really hard to track these down, but maybe over time I'll get a few more of them. So that would be awesome to add on. All right, so that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for swinging by. And if you haven't already, you might please give me a thumbs up and a subscription. That would be awesome. It means a lot. But until next time, let's get dangerous.